Hello, and welcome to the Tavern Chat Podcast. I am your host, Eric Tenkar, your bartender in the OSR, your main proprietor at the Tenkar's Tavern blog. Discord server, MeWe group, Facebook group, Twittering, Instagram, and YouTube.com/Eric Tenkar, ERIKTENKAR, where we do the live streams every Wednesday, every other Friday, and some live streams thrown in between. If you're interested, man, go to youtube.com/Eric Tenkar. Subscribe to the channel. It helps. It helps the podcast. It helps the live stream. It just helps overall. So, what am I talking about today? Well, we're going to look at that 2020 in review. And I know we got days left to 2020, but I'm sure I'll have more important things to talk about than what has come in the past and what's going to happen in the future, or at least the plans for the future. But you got to touch on some of this. So in 2020, according to Spotify for broadcasters, which Spotify now owns Anchor, apparently most of the greatest percentage of increase in listeners was in Sweden, 150%, 81% increase in Canada, 38% increase in the U.S. And I want to thank all of you that have been listening. It really means more than you can ever imagine. Now, other interesting stats. We come up in 28 countries, maybe more if you go directly to Anchor, but according to Spotify, 28 countries is where our listeners are in. But I would say, more important, our listeners, our amount of people listening to this podcast is up 40% over the last year, and that's huge. And that's all of you, and that's whether you're getting the word out on social media or talking to your friends or talking to your gaming group. I appreciate it. So what are we going to do now for 2021, right? Because, well, what Bad Mike and I are doing, at least on Wednesday nights. Now, you'll hear that Wednesday night on the podcast. Don't get me wrong. And the podcast is the place. But if you want to participate in the live stream, okay, Mike and I do the Talking Crit live stream every Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern. That lasts 90 minutes to 2 hours. We answer the comments that are made on the live stream. If you want to participate in this, it's the best way to do it. Now, 2021, we are going to be doing the Talking Crit live stream Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday nights during TotalCon. I know. Pretty exciting. I mentioned that before. We are also trying to see if we can do it officially for GaryCon. Grab some of the special guests and do it in conjunction with GaryCon. Even if GaryCon doesn't partner up with us, we're still going to do it. All right, that's pretty much a guarantee. We're going to still be running extra live streams, but we'd prefer to do it with the con. It's good for the con. It's good for us. And then we can get some better special guests. Listen, Mike and I know a number of people, between the two of us, within the industry, especially within the old school gaming corner of the hobby. We'd like to share that with you. And part of our joy, our excitement, when we go to conventions in general, I go to socialize. Mike goes to socialize. Gaming to me is secondary. I can always, if I want to, jump into a group on a weekend. If I look hard enough, I'm sure I can find it without much trouble. But I go to socialize, and we want people to be able to hear the stories that they're not going to hear otherwise. I think that's important. Also, for those who may have missed it, Joe the Lawyer and myself have been doing Iron Rations. It kicked off this past Friday on a live stream. It actually got posted up here on the podcast side on Tavern Chat on Saturday. Great response to it. It's been fun. Whereas Mike and I talk about current events in the gaming hobby, Joe and I talk about D&D. We don't always agree on what we're talking about, but we talk about D&D, and I think that's another angle to it. And again, the live streams are great because they really push me like a good group pushes me as a GM. All right. I like it as a GM when I'm pushed to improvise, when I have to overcome my party's latest going off the beaten path, fucking with my adventure. You know what? Fuck with my adventure because you're going to make it better. Honest to God. Go where I don't expect you. And that applies to my listeners too. Okay? Mike and I, Joe and I, we're more than happy to listen to your feedback, your suggestions, whether it's live or whether you leave a voicemail. You can leave a voicemail via the app. You can leave a voicemail to our Google number. Of course, it would help if I had my Google number up. Here we go. 347-509-5168. 347-509-5168, as my beautiful wife Rachel is nice enough to remind me. You chose that number because 5168 was your shield number as a sergeant, and it was. I do this because I enjoy socializing with the rest of you. I enjoy sharing my hobby with my community. So I've been doing OSR Christmas. I've been doing OSR Christmas for a number of years. It's a way to give back to the community. So for 2020, in addition to these live streams, I would like to do some daytime live streams, not just the fireside chats where, by the way, pretty much every fireside chat is going to be a live stream. So if I bring somebody in for a one-on-one, like I did with Alyssa Faden, it's going to be on YouTube, on Facebook, but YouTube is the easiest one if you want to comment live. It's going to be in 2021 going forward. They're going to be recorded live because that way it's not just my questions, it's not just my feedback. It's feedback from the live audience, and nothing brings out the best in you. And have a live audience, well, keep you on your toes. And I really appreciate that more than you can ever imagine. So I'm going to throw this out to you all right now. Today is December 27th. I was right. We've got 4 more days left in 2020. It's probably been, for many of us, the shittiest year in our existence, if not close to it. And I'm saying that from somebody who has had, COVID hasn't touched my family, hasn't touched my immediate friends. And I've had a shitty year. But I've had a shitty year that's been better than it probably had any right to be. It was, okay, you get hospitalized with fucking pneumonia, but the pneumonia brought on congestive heart failure. Another 2 weeks hospitalization. But if it wasn't for that congestive heart failure, as I was told to me by my heart failure doc, it is quite likely that I might have had straight up heart failure and simply not woken up one morning. Fast forward a couple months and I get hospitalized a 3rd time this year. And this time because I passed out, and I'm insisting with the doc, the cardiologist in the hospital, listen, I had, excuse my graphic details, I had a shit ton of diarrhea. The night before, I lost like 4 pounds of weight between my weigh-ins in the mornings. And I didn't feel 100% before going out for lunch, but I felt obligated because we were seeing a friend of the family, and I passed out. I said, listen, I think it was low blood sugar because I tested my blood sugar in the ambulance. It was like 125, and mine was like 215 before I left the house, which tells me this is after I was given orange juice as I passed out. So I think it's a combination of dehydration and low blood sugar. Well, you know what? It was. However, hospitalization was good. Told me I had a blocked carotid on my left side. Totally occluded. I mean, it's totally blocked. But knowledge is power, right? My body compensated for that. Now I can, going forward, make sure I do something that's a low cholesterol diet, watch that, address that. We shall overcome. Well, that was my 2020, and I'm looking at it as shitty, but good. Because this is all like my heart damage from congestive heart failure. That was done years ago. Radiation and chemo for Hodgkin's. And by the way, just as a side note, when people go to me, how can you say that you don't like XYZ, yet you want to raise funds for them or you want to help them because they have cancer? And quite simply, I don't wish cancer on my worst fucking enemy. I am a cancer survivor. Just surviving cancer is a battle in and of itself, but it obviously has scars. It's just a heart failure. It's one of those scars. I don't wish that on anybody. Okay? So I cannot particularly like you and still support you. All right? That's real life. Real life is not black and white. Real life is shades of fucking gray. And again, I don't wish cancer on my worst enemy, and if they had it, I will do anything I could to support them. Don't care if they like me or not. I've been through it. I'm a survivor. Hopefully, I'm a survivor for a good number of years after this. But you got to keep you got to keep things in perspective. This is life. Life is bigger than petty squabbles. It always has been. People that lose sight of that, I'm sorry. I feel sorry for you. So, folks, it's a bit of a rambling day. I understand that. I didn't give you any gaming shit today. Really. Again, I apologize. See, it's going to be a year-end wrap-up, pretty much. But for 2021, I'd like to hear from my listeners. If you don't want to call, I can leave a voicemail, whether it's through the number, through Google number, or through Anchor. Email me, tankcars.tavern@gmail.com, tankcars.tavern@gmail.com, and tell me what you'd like to hear on the podcast. What topics do you want me to cover? There's a ton of shit out there I can cover on either the main podcast, or I could cover on talking crit, Iron Rations with Joe, and Gamers Health. There's a lot of stuff we can cover, a lot of ground, but you know what? I need your help to identify the areas that I might have missed or I might be missing going forward. So, this is your podcast. These are your live streams. This is your community. I'm just, I don't know. I am just a light bringer, okay? I'm the torchbearer, okay? I'm just shining the light. The rest of you are the reason why I do this. Folks, we are in the midst of the world of a pandemic. I am not a medical professional. I am not in the healthcare community. I am not going to tell you what to do. aside from use your common fucking sense. Seriously. It's the best weapon you have against COVID is using your common sense. Take actions that keep yourself, your family, your loved ones, your friends, your community healthy and safe. Be safe. Be well. God bless each and every one of you during this holiday season. If you don't believe in a higher power or being upstairs, then take my goodwill and my well wishes and my hopes that 2021 is a much more prosperous, healthy, rewarding year than 2020 was for the vast majority of us. Folks, on that note, I'm going to bid thee all adieu. And I will, God willing, and knock on wood, talk with you all mananas. Later, folks.